Hello, everybody. I just hit 800 subscribers like very recently. We're actually at 815 now. Hey, so funny thing. I was recording this like a month ago, maybe. When we hit 800 subscribers, we quickly got to 815. I was like, no biggie. And then I had a little trip over the weekend, and so I didn't get it done. And then here we are, and as you might have known, I hit 900 subscribers. I wasn't going to do anything special for 900, but in this video, I was going to tell you I wasn't going to do it. And then on top of that, I was also supposed to do a 1,000 subscriber special. We are going to do that. That is still on the to-do list. If you guys have ideas, let me know. I'm going to do a Q&A as well on top of that. So 2 videos for the price of 1. Big 1K. Be there, be square. So we got the first question here from Flames, and it is, Season 2 World Download, will it ever happen? So if you guys didn't watch the last video, you may not know this, because I don't really talk about it a lot in my videos, but I have a viewer-joinable Minecraft server. And it's been running for 3 seasons, technically 4 if you count Season 0, which I would. So I've got 4 different seasons. The current one is Season 3, we have Season 0, Season 1, and Season 2. Season 2 is one of the longest running servers that I've had. It lasted about a full year, and that was the season that Flames joined us. And I have been saying that I've been going to put out a world download for this for a very long time, and I do mean it. There will be a world download. It's just a lot of work, and unfortunately, with my ever-growing to-do list of making videos and doing streams and working on my video game Omnia, which we will be talking about today, I shouldn't say we. This is a me problem. I have not had a lot of time to dedicate to it. Now I'm hoping that if I can get focused very soon, then it won't be too big of a deal and I can start grinding it out a little bit better. But yes, I still do intend to do a Season 2 world download. There's just a lot of issues there. Big things that are stopping me right now is I need to finish setting up the teleports because we had people set up bases millions of blocks away from spawn. In our current season of King SMP, we have a world border to stop people from doing that. But last season, we didn't have that. So people went out millions and millions of blocks away. And I want to be able to make sure that they can get, that all of our players can get to those bases relatively quickly. Additionally, the world size is really big. And find hosting space for that is very hard. Now, I am used to deleting chunks, and I will still prune chunks, but from my understanding, it's not going to shrink down the file size enough to just host it anywhere. So I gotta find the right places for this world download as well. But yes, it will happen eventually. Thanks for the question, Flames. The next question is also from Flames here, and it is, also, if I remember correctly, you did a VR stream one time. You planning on doing that ever again? That'd be pretty snazzy. Yes, at some point in time, I would like to do a VR stream again. It's just a matter of what that will be and how. I liked doing it. It was cool, but there were a lot of issues with it. I couldn't read chat. There's plugins that supposedly help you with it, but I've never had much luck getting them to work. But also audio is another thing. And so what I was going to do is I was going to buy a very simple lavalier mic that sits on your collar so that it can always hear you. But it's another price to pay. I already spent $300 on the headset, if I'm not mistaken. It was something like that. And I don't really want to keep spending money on it if I don't know if I'm going to play it. Because VR games also cost money, so it's like a never-ending battle with VR content. But I would like to do a couple of VR Minecraft streams, or at least videos, and I think that would be really fun. So we're going to look into some possibilities there. Our next question is from Snaxolotl, and they are asking 100 men or 1 gorilla. So there's a lot of factors here, and I'm just going to get straight into it. If we're talking like Joey Swole level men versus 1 gorilla, the 100 men win. If we're talking me level men versus 1 gorilla, the gorilla wins. And then it gets even more complicated into that. Like, it could be that it's just a randomly selected group of men. On average, I would say more than likely the men would win, but it's really hard to say. And then, like, the other thing is, like, weaponry. If we're just going in, no weapons, they bring they bring their own hands. That's all they have. Are they allowed to make weapons out of the bones of their fallen brothers? Is the gorilla allowed to make weapons? Like there's some serious considerations here, but again, more often than not, I would say the men would probably win just due to overwhelming force. Our next question here is from Swiftu, and it just says Omnia, and it's a request for me to rant about Omnia. It's kind of like that question about King SMP from last Q&A, where it was just a rant about King SMP's next season, but this is about Omnia. So Omnia is my new game that I'm working on, and it is larger than life. It is every single feature that you could imagine in any type of game crammed into one game, all disguised as a space exploration simulator. And the hope is that there's so many things to do that you don't ever actually have to leave one planet. You could just kind of live your whole life on one planet. But because the draw of space is so big, I feel like nobody's going to be able to stay on one planet for very long because it's just so exciting to go out into space. I kind of started working on the branding for Omnia lately, and one of the branding points that I've come up with is the mission statement. And so the mission statement is something similar to this anyway. Omnia isn't just a game, it's a living, breathing world where players can live out their fantasy of exploring space. We were born too early to be part of the interstellar age of humanity, but we are born just in time to play Omnia. And I really think that really settles it for me was coming up with these reasons for it to exist. It's a sandbox. It's full of every emotion because it's all shaped by the way you play. Just kind of like Minecraft, where it's shaped the way you play and it's choose your own adventure. The story is written by you for you. And that's what I really want Omnia to be. It's very inspired by Minecraft. It's not for just one group of people, but rather the entirety of humanity. This is for those who just want to explore, those who want to fight, the creators and the heroes and the criminals. And it's also for people who just want connection. The game is going to feature a heavy amount of connection where we're actually building new integrations that I've not really seen to this level for games with AI. And every NPC is going to be interactable to a point that we're hoping that they'll be near human-like. The next question is also from Swiftu here, and it comes right after the Omnia question. How many times has your server been DDoSed, and what have you done about it? So this is another question about King SMP. My server has been DDoSed a couple of times, and I've had to argue with all sorts of server hosts about this because they really don't like admitting that they've been DDoSed. One of them has actually changed their statement from saying that they've not been DDoSed since I think it was 2014 initially, but they've changed it now to say that they have DDoS mitigation. And my more recent hosts, they do a good job at mitigating it, and they actually send me updates usually when they do receive an attack. However, there are still people who send bots, which isn't technically a DDoS to them because it's a very certain criteria that they call a DDoS. But I have had it happen. I've had it happen a number of times. Regardless of what you call DDoS, let's just say it's a cyber attack. So they're taking down my server and blocking me from using it. That is a cyber attack, and it is a crime. I have actually had to report several of these crimes to the FBI, the IC3 unit, and they take care of all of the cyber crimes within the United States. And this also means that they can take care of things overseas if you report it to them because it's happening to a United States business. Yes, they have actually done stuff because I sent the FBI to this one kid's doorstep. His name was Grease's Fun, I believe. And we haven't seen him since I reported him, which means the FBI more than likely sent a cease and desist. I don't know the full details of it. They don't tell me that stuff, but all I know is he stopped showing up after that happened. And that's happened to a couple of other people. There have been people who have tried to hold it for Bitcoin. There have been people who have tried to just keep doing it every time I log on to my server. And every time I report them, they disappear. So yes, it does work. And yes, you can do it. definitely review all the rules because I'm in no way a legal authority here. I don't understand all the laws, but I have read it myself and I understand it to the extent I know it. You can report these crimes because they are crimes. Thanks for the question, Swiftu. And we have a question here from Deadly Sloth, aka the Music Man, and they're asking, when will you let me out of the basement? Which is a solid question, a fair question, even. The answer is eventually. Maybe. Possibly never. I don't know. I'll decide when I'm ready. And you will just have to deal with it. I'm sorry. Our next question comes in from Snacks, and this was the thumbnail question. Chicken or beef? And I don't know what kind of wuss jumps for the chicken. We're always jumping for the beef. Always jumping for the beef. I'm a firm believer in beef supremacy. I I myself in the real world love beef. I like burgers, I like steak, I like what other kind of beef do we eat? Tacos. Tacos are great, and I like beef tacos better than chicken tacos. Now chicken is good. The spicy honey chicken that a lot of places have been making, I really do enjoy that as well. But overall, beef is usually my go-to. The next question comes in from Flames, and they're asking another King SMP question here. If you are scrapping quests in Season 4, can you please keep that one bow with Infinity and Mending? I love it. And maybe the Dragon Wings too, but I don't need those like I need that bow. And maybe the Cowardly Staff. So we have some custom items in King SMP, for those of you who don't know. And I have talked extensively about Season 4 being a push to go back towards vanilla, which does mean a lot of these things are going away, like quests. Quests might still be there in some regards, but I doubt it will have custom items like this. It'll be much more ground level Minecraft. You know, I don't want things to be too crazy. Now, I'm not going to say never on the Infinity and Mending Bow, because at one point in time, that was a thing you could get in vanilla. However, Mojang removed that at a certain point. I don't remember exactly when. And I don't exactly remember what the Dragon Wings are, but I do remember the Cowardly Staff. That will probably end up going away. There may be a quest line somewhere for you to do a knockback stick, maybe, possibly. But I'm not gonna promise that necessarily. The Dragon Wings, I'll look into it and see what those were. But like I said, I'm trying to get us back down to vanilla. I've been really enjoying myself on the Twitch SMP, which is entirely vanilla. There's no teleports. There's just playing the game. And I've been really enjoying myself there. It's a challenge, but it makes it a lot easier to stick with the game because after a while, things just get so easy. You have no reason to keep playing unless you're building. And that's a-okay to build. I love building. That's my main focus in Minecraft, and that's what you're seeing in the background gameplay is me building. But adding all these things that make it so easy so that you don't ever have to grind a little bit makes it so that it's overall actually going to hurt your playtime on the server. So I'm going to do some research on these items, and I'll see about maybe keeping a couple of them as a possibility, but I'm not going to promise anything necessarily. Next question comes in from Swifto, and it's kind of a follow-up question to Girlfriend Win. It is Marriage Win. And the answer I have here is also, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that go into this. As big of a decision as just even getting into a relationship with somebody is, you then have to talk with them and have a serious conversation. For me, before I even get into a relationship with anybody, I have that conversation of what would your goals be if we did. And so that tells me at least that we're in the same boat long term. But there are some people who don't do that. For me, I would never jump into a relationship not knowing. First, I have to find that person that is willing to jump into the boat with me. And then we got to talk about it a couple months down the road when we're a little more stable into things and we've put a label on it. When are we thinking, you know? And we got to have that conversation probably every few months just to get an idea. Are we still good? And maybe a year down the road, we're like, oh, yeah, this is working great. We should just go ahead and put the ring on it. And great, that's fantastic. Some people would say I'm crazy for saying a year. I would say a year and a half is honestly the perfect time, though, because this gets you through a couple of seasons of life. It gets you through some really tough times, probably, because more often than not, there are a couple of tough times a year. It gets you through maybe a medical emergency or two. Everybody has these medical issues that just kind of pop up out of nowhere. Tells you, can I handle them during that even? It tells you, can I handle their family? Because you're probably going to see them around Thanksgiving, Christmas times, Easter, whatever holidays you celebrate. You're going to go run into their family at some point. So it gives you some time to run around them there. And it kind of gets you a lot of time to get to know these people. So I would say a year and a half is really the perfect ideal length for me personally. That's when I would know for sure. And once you know that you can get married, then I see no reason why not to get married. If you're both over 18 and even if you're in school, I would say getting married is an okay thing because there's a lot of benefits that come alongside getting married outside of just being official. There's no reason to not make it official. It's a scary thing, but let's be honest. It's a piece of paper that says in the eyes of the law that we are both exclusive to each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's something everybody really should strive for if they're interested in dating. That's a great question, Swifty. Ultimately, I can't answer the when, but I could tell you probably if I ever tell you guys that I have a girlfriend, expect it to be a year to a year and a half after that and ask me the question again, and you'll probably have a different answer. Snaxolotl is here asking the final question of this video, and it's a really deep and interesting question, so we're going to get right into it. What is your goal with streaming / YouTube? Like, do you want it to be a full-time job or just a hobby that gives money? And this is a really, really good question, and I really, really have a lot of different answers for it. And so we're just going to kind of talk about it. I'm not going to provide probably a solid answer, but I'm going to try my best. So I would love for it to be full-time where I can just do this and I don't have to worry about anything else. But part of me also really wants to just keep it as a hobby because there is not a lot of stability when it comes to streaming and YouTube. Your numbers go up and down every single day. I mean, as it is right now, my Twitch numbers have jumped up and down all week. I mean, I had on Wednesday a 1.8 average, Thursday was 6.4, Friday 4.7, Monday a 5, and then Tuesday was a 9.5. And my average viewers over the last 30 days has been 5. And it's crazy to try to think about how in the world you could stabilize that at a larger growth rate, because at some days I am double my average viewership and some days I am at like 1% of that double. So it's like I am at complete extremes here, and it's very, very tough to say, like, could I even stabilize myself with that? Could I provide for a family? Could I even provide for myself? Would I like to? Yes, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. Now, I'm hoping that I can get a lot more certainty with that if I do get monetized on YouTube, which is hopefully happening soon. I'm actually really, really close, and I appreciate your guys' support for that. We're getting closer and closer, and maybe once I get those numbers in on how that affects things, maybe we'll see it and we'll go, this could actually work, and I would be really happy if that's the case because that gives me plenty of time to work on videos, plenty of time to work on streams, and a lot of free time to work on my video game for you guys as well. Everything that I've been doing with this isn't really just for me. As much as I enjoy it, it's all for you. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's a hobby for me to do it. But the dream would be to make it a job so that I could keep doing it forever and keep providing these great things that I hope they're great. These things that I'm doing for you guys, you know? There's a lot of hope there, and if I can get focused again and just grind out videos, I think I can make it work. I mean, we gained 100 subscribers in a month. Surely, if I keep up the work, we could get 200 a month, 300 a month, 400 a month, 500 a month. And if I can just keep growing and keep up a consistent growth rate of, let's say, 5 to 10%, which is a big variable, but if we grew at 5 to 10%, by the end of the year, I think I could support myself off of YouTube and Twitch. But there's a lot of unknown variables there and a lot of things that I don't fully understand. So would I like it to be a full-time job or just a hobby? I'm leaning towards full-time so that I can keep supporting the hobby, which is this. It's a weird thing. It's both a hobby and a full-time interest, and I work on it like it's 2 full-time jobs, in all honesty. Even though I'm only doing legitimate 50 hours of work, I sit here at my computer for 80 hours a week trying to get stuff done. So it's a hit and miss, but I would love for it to be full-time because I do put in full-time hours for it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's all the questions for this video, and I will be doing another one at 1K along with something else special. I don't know what that'll be just yet, but I'll be dreaming up some things very, very soon. I want to say a quick thank you guys to all of you who have watched, who have subscribed, who have supported all this, because it's impossible to do this without each and every one of you. And I hope to see you guys again very, very soon. And goodbye.